ओम वक्रतुंड महाकाय सूर्यकोटि समप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। ओम श्री महागणपतये नमः। ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शंकराचार्य मध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। अस्मद्गुरुभ्यो नमः। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ओम श्री मेधा दक्षिणामूर्ति स्वामिने नमः। ओम सहनाववतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरिः ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम। Namaste once again, everyone.
Namaskar.
Sannapya sannapyubhayatmikano bhinnapya bhinnapyubhayatmikano sanghapya sanghapyana sangha ubhayatmikano mahadbhuta nirvachaniya rupa. So, this is the sloka we are seeing. As I have been mentioning, this is a very challenging feature. This Karana Sharira is a very challenging feature to understand. But having said that, it is not difficult to understand. It just requires an extension of our intellectual capabilities and to think through the whole thing, to understanding this aspect, which is otherwise what we saw as avyaktam. We can't, it is something which we have to imagine or we have to conceptualize without having the benefit of having a perception of that thing. No idea what it is, just have to visualize. So we have seen till now that this avyaktam has three features. What are they? It is the cause of the universe is one feature. It has Vikshepa Shakti or creative power or projecting power, and Avarana Shakti or concealing power is the second feature. And we also saw Paramesha Shakti, Avyaktam is the power of the Lord, another feature. Now, in this shloka, a very important fourth feature is added by using two adjectives, Mahadbhuta and Anirvachaniya Rupa. This Maya or Avidya or Shakti, whatever name you like, you can call, is Mahadbhuta, greatest wonder, Mahadbhuta, Mahad Adbhuta. And why it is so? Why it is a great wonder? Because it is Anirvachaniya Rupa. It cannot be clearly defined. It is indefinable, intellectually uncategorizable, logically unclassifiable. Therefore, it will always challenge our intellect. In fact, the more you think about it, our intellect will be overwhelmed. What is this Maya? So, in this shloka, Adi Shankara deals with 9 types of indefinability. That is based on the Shastra, also talks about 9 types of indefinability. You cannot say it is this, You cannot say it is that. And what you cannot say using words is being talked about. Using words. That's a beauty. Beauty of the entire Upanishads. Brahman is also same. You cannot perceive Brahman, but you have to understand what Brahman is. So what you cannot perceive is talked about using words. And at the same time, the Upanishads say words cannot reach Brahman. So if words cannot reach Brahman, then how are you talking about Brahman with words? All these things are all, the conundrums of Vedanta. There is no other way. So they choose certain methodology, certain words, certain language, certain terminology in order to convey what they want to convey. Because our intellect functions in a manner, it wants to classify everything into this or that. And normally the classification is of these 9 types, which is talked about in this sloka. So Shankaracharya says, Maya doesn't fit into any of those 9 classifications. None of them you can use to classify Maya or Avidya or Prakriti or Shakti. Therefore, it is called Anirvachaniyam. Nirvachaniyam means Nishchayena Vachaniyam. With that which can be categorically stated. Nirvachaniyam means Nishchayena Vachaniyam. Anirvachaniyam means that which cannot be categorically stated. One cannot be sure about what it is. Indefinable or undefinable. Inexplicable. But does it mean that we cannot experience Avyaktam? We can experience. It is experienceable. It is inferable. So while on the one hand, it is undefinable or inexplicable, at the same time, we can experience it, we can infer the existence of this Avyaktam. So basically, Anirvachaniya Rupam means of inexplicable nature. So we will see these 9 possible classifications one by one. And of course, we must note that this unclassifiability or indefinability is not restricted to Maya alone, but it is the main feature of all products of Maya also. See, I can't help but getting into little more heavier and heavier areas. Of course, you had a warning in advance. But it's okay. I mean, we are getting into certain deep waters of Vedanta. But then you won't drown, rest assured. You'll come out of it. Maybe a little bit water, you will go inside, but still, it will not be catastrophic. So last class I said that this Prakriti or Maya has got 2-fold powers. Vikshepa Shakti and Avarana Shakti. So with the help of Vikshepa Shakti, it projects this unreal world. So Maya projects an unreal world, mysterious world, indefinable world. And I gave you an example also. It is just as sleep projects an unreal dream world. We also saw that Maya projects an unreal world, which we experience in our waking state. Now, one more question arises out of it. Okay, Maya projects an unreal world. I will accept it. Even though I have some resistance, but for the sake of argument, I will accept it. But tell me, is Maya itself real or unreal? What world it projects is unreal. But is Maya real or unreal? This is a question that should arise in everybody's mind. And put in a different language, is Bhagavan's power or Paramesha Shakti, the omnipotence of the Lord we talk about, is this Shakti of God, the power of God, real or unreal? Moot question. And there is a very big debate in all theological systems about this. Most of the theologies say Bhagavan is real. Bhagavan's power is also real. Because if Bhagavan is real, then his Bhagavan's power also should be real, isn't it? And Vedanta alone differs from most of the systems which accept Bhagavan. Vedanta says, Bhagavan, if you understand Bhagavan as consciousness, it is real. Bhagavan, the consciousness principle, is real. But Bhagavan's power, the creative power called Maya, is unreal. So Bhagavan is real, but Bhagavan's power, which is the Paramesha Shakti, the Maya, is unreal. And that unreality is brought out in the first quarter of this sloka. Sannapya sannapyubhayatmika no. In fact, this sloka is flooded with lot of sandhis. Sandhi is a prakriya in Sanskrit grammar. So the sannapya, that word has to be, in fact, sanna itself has to be split into sat na. So sat means real, true. Na means not. So Maya sat na bhavati. Api means moreover, also. Right? So sannapya, sanna api, satna api, Maya satna api, Maya satna bhavati api, Maya asat na bhavati, or Maya asat api na bhavati. That is the first. Sannapya sannapi. Up to that is Maya satna bhavati, Maya asatna bhavati. Then Ubhayatmika. Ubhayatmika means both. Real and unreal. And he says Maya Ubhayatmika na bhavati. The no which is there, it should be split as na u. So na u means indeed. Not indeed, you can put it. Na u bhavati. So Maya satna bhavati, Maya asatna bhavati, Maya ubhayatmika na bhavati. It is not real. Maya and its products does not come under the category of existent. You cannot say Maya is existent. Once you hear this statement, immediately our intellect will do what? Go to the other extreme. Is Maya, that means Maya is non-existent. Immediately Adi Shankara says, no, you cannot say that. I have only said Maya is not existent. does not come under the category of existence. So he says, be careful. Do not swing like a pendulum from one extreme to another. Maya does not come under the non-existent category also. Existent? No. Is it non-existent? No. It does not come under either category. It is neither existent nor non-existent. There are any questions, please note down. We will discuss during the satsang. So, if it is neither existent nor non-existent, one more possibility is there, a third possibility. Can you say it is ubhayatmika, that it is a mixture or a combination of existent and non-existent? Like we have some snack, some biscuits, or I don't know what they call it, mixture, taste mixtures. I think Britannia 50-50 or something, sweet and salty biscuits. Neither sweet nor salty, but a combination of both. Mixture of twofold tastes. Similarly, can you say Maya is existent and at the same time non-existent? Shankaracharya says no. And this no is na-u, but it can be taken as English no also rather, isn't it? So na-u means never. Then what category is it? It is different from all these three possibilities. It is neither existent, nor non-existent, nor existent, non-existent. Oh my God, this is too much confusing. So how do I, if at all I want to express Maya, how do I express it? Just to say it is anirvachaniyam, inexpressible. In English, we roughly translate as seemingly existent, experientially available, but on probing, and that probing is very, very important. You will find that this Maya is mysterious. Experientially available, but on probing, it behaves mysteriously. Now let's go back to the example I gave before. I explained what is unreal while dealing with the words mithya in verse number 10 and ajnana kalpitan in verse number 17. Mithya and ajnana kalpitan. I had explained both as unreal. Now you have to bring that idea here in this context also. So anirvachaniyam also means mithya. And to understand mithya, we saw the example of dream. And that is for us the nearest and universal experience. And we discussed mithya, what is mithya from the standpoint of a dream. I know that you must not have forgotten all those things. You're all bright students. But still, at the cost of repetition, I will mention it once again. We can never clearly say that the dream world is existent or non-existent. Because when we are in a dream, for a dreamer in the dream world, that world comes under the existent category. He will in fact swear that the dream world is existent, real. For him, it is objectively existent. He undergoes dream experiences. It is independently existent. There is a world of which he is also a dream. He assumes a dream body and he is there. He is transacting with the dream world, with the dream body. So from that standpoint, it is existent. He transacts in money, dream money. He drinks water, dream water he drinks. He hears some beautiful dream sounds also. All these things are experienceable for a dreamer in a dream, transactable, and it is useful also. Because a dream water is not some imaginary water. In the dream, if you feel thirsty, you will drink the dream water and the thirst will be quenched. There is a utility for the dream water. Therefore, in the dream, for a dreamer, the entire dream world is objectively, tangibly, and clearly existent. And the dreamer will swear that it is real. And the world real means what? Independently existent. But even though I swear so at that time as a dreamer, on waking up, I find that the entire dream world becomes non-existent. Therefore, in waking state, the dream world becomes non-existence. During dream, it is existent. Thus, for some time, it appears to be existent. And then, at other times, it becomes non-existence. Now, when you ask which category you will put the dream world into, because what is truly existent must be available at all times in all avastha. Dream world is available only in a dream. Therefore, we can say it is existent in dream, non-existent in waking. So you cannot clearly categorize into one of them. It is at the same time existent, at the same time non-existence also, dream world. Then can you say, it's a mixture of both existent and non-existent? You say no. You cannot say it's a mixture because a thing can be both, or rather I put it this way, a thing cannot be both existent and non-existent at the same time. They are two diametrically opposite attributes. And opposite attributes cannot be combined. They cannot coexist in one and the same locus at the same time. Therefore, the dream world cannot be said to be existent. It cannot be said to be non-existent and cannot be said to be both. Therefore, how will you classify the dream world? Anirvachaniyam. Seemingly existent during dream, by borrowing existence from me, the waker, with the observer. This is how we have to understand Maya. Appears to be existent in a particular state of experience. In another particular state of experience, it is non-existent. So if we have to understand which state we are in becomes very, very important to categorize whether it is real or unreal or both or none. So similarly, what Shankaracharya says is this is true of Maya also. Maya is neither existent nor non-existent nor a mixture of both. You cannot say it is existent because on spiritual awakening, when one becomes a jnani, Maya will be negated. Not now. We are not at jnanis. We are still ajnanis. We are still either in the dream world. We are oscillating between dream world and the waking world. Correct? We have not still got spiritual awakening. So in dream world, what appears real? On waking, it becomes unreal. So just as the dream will be negated on regular awakening, Maya also will be negated by a jnani on spiritual awakening. So you can say Maya is existent in the waking world, and on spiritual awakening, it becomes non-existent. This is how we have to understand Maya. But now, as I said, it is very much existent for us because it has created the whole universe, including all the problems we face every day, even corona problem. How can I say it is non-existent? We all went through these 2.5 years of hell, suffering from this corona, COVID problem. And Adi Shankara in Atma Bodha puts it very beautifully. Swakale Satyavat Bhati. At the time of ignorance or dream, it appears very, very real. Swakale means in its own time. Satyavat Bhati, it appears solidly real. Then, of course, when that period is over, you get into another state, it becomes unreal. So, Maya is anirvachaniyam, neither existent nor non-existent, nor a mixture of both. So, all three categories Acharya has negated. What are they? Maya satna bhavati, Maya asatna bhavati, Maya ubhayatmika na ubhavati. Sat has been negated, asat has been negated, mixture also is negated. So three negations have happened. Then he says, bhinnapya bhayatmika no. So everywhere we have to supply Maya and Bhavati. Okay. And now we have to read, no, we have to read with all three. Na u, na u, na u. So Maya bhinna na u bhavati. Maya abhinna na u bhavati. Maya ubhayatmika api na u bhavati. Here, the Shastra, bhinna means what? Different. So Maya is not different. Maya is not non-different. So different from what? The question will arise. So here the Shastra talks about the relationship between Maya and Brahman. Brahman is real, Maya is unreal. We have seen. So what is the relationship between this Maya and Brahman, the unreal and the real? Vedanta says this relationship also you cannot clearly define. And normally we can clearly say, this is my brother, this is my father, this is my sister, I am the employer, he is an employee, etc. We can clearly define all these things. But when one factor is real, another factor is unreal, it is very difficult to define the relationship. Whether they are one or different, you cannot say. Again, let's go back to the dream topic. It's a classic example used by Shastra. Is the experienced dream world totally different from the observer, the dreamer? Question. I will repeat the question for better understanding. Is the experienced dream world totally different from the observer or the experiencers? Or is the experienced dream world totally identical with the experiencers? So only these two relationships are possible between the dream world and the person who is dreaming. Either the dream world is different from the observer, or the dream world is identical with the observer, experiencer, observer. Vedanta says you cannot say both of them. Either of them you cannot say. You cannot say the dream world is totally different from you, the experiencer. Because if it is totally different from the experiencer, even after the dreamer wakes up from the dream world must continue to be there because it is independent of the experiencer. If there is a music program going on in the dream, and when I wake up, the music program with all other audiences, musicians and all should continue to go on because I am different from the dream. It is independently existing. But that's not the case. What we find is the moment the dreamer wakes up, the entire dream of world collapses, just like the switch off takes place in a cinema theater, screen becomes blank. Movie over. Proving that the dream world cannot exist by itself. That means it is not totally different from the dreamer, the experiencer. Then can you say the dream world is identical with me, the experiencer, or the experiencer and the dream one and the same? That also we cannot say, because if both are the same, on waking up when the dream world disappears, the experiences also will have to disappear. But the experiencer, I do not disappear. In the waking state, I am very much there to say that I had a good dream, or I had a bad dream, or I had a nightmare. All those things, I saw some snake chasing me in the dream. All these things you can say. So that means what? You are not identical with the dream. You are different. Therefore, I am neither different from nor identical with the dream world. Means what? Unreal cannot be different from real. Unreal cannot be identical with real. Matter is neither different from consciousness, nor is matter totally different from consciousness. Neither different or totally non-different from consciousness. Neither different nor non-different. So what is it? Anirvachaniya Rupa. I can experience it, but I cannot say whether it is different or non-different, whether it is real or not real. In fact, some places in Shastra gives another beautiful example. Example of a person's shadow. When I walk on the road and the sun being behind me, my shadow falls on the road. Question is that shadow different from me or identical with my body? Can you say the shadow is different from you? Can you say the shadow is identical with my body? You cannot say either way. Because if the shadow is different, even when I go away, the shadow should continue to be there. Isn't it? If I turn right and go away, I am walking on a straight road and there is a shadow. And the shadow is different from me. I turn right and go away, the shadow should be there only because it is independent of me. But that does not happen. The shadow also turns and comes along with me. So, okay, can you say then because of this, the shadow is identical with me? You cannot say shadow and me are identical, because if someone pours water on my shadow, I don't get wet. So we are not identical with each other. Another aspect is, suppose if there is an adjustment in the light behind me, the size of the shadow can grow bigger or smaller, but my size doesn't change. I don't become bigger or smaller. So that also shows that me and the shadow are not identical. Therefore, just as the shadow, just as the dream, etc., you cannot classify as different, non-different. Brahman and Maya, Shaktiman and Shakti are neither totally different nor totally identical. Therefore, he says, Binnaha no bhavati abhinnaha no bhavati. Okay. Can we say ubhayatmika bhavati? It is both different and non-different. Answer is no. Never. You cannot say that, because again, we can say a person is fat and tall, a person is lean and tall, a person is lean and short, but because they are not opposing attributes. A person can have both the attributes which are non-contradicting. But you cannot say a person is fat and lean, he is tall and short, a person is young and old. Each of these are contradicting each other. Contradicting attributes cannot coexist in the same locus. Similarly, here also, it cannot be ubhayatmika, a mixture of contradicting attributes. So it cannot be different and non-different at the same time. It is not possible. And therefore, another 3 classifications are negated. So till now, 6 classifications of Maya have been negated. I hope you are all following me and are able to keep your head above water. We are discussing whether Maya is real or unreal. These are all deep waters of Vedanta. And to understand this Maya, which is described as Anirvachaniyam, there cannot be a more appropriate expression than Anirvachaniyam. That which cannot be told in any certain terms. Therefore, Puja Swamiji says, we can only use the word seemingly different. The world is seemingly different, because on inquiry, we will find it is not totally different also. Maya is neither existent nor non-existent, or both. Then the third one is Sanghapyananga Hubayatmika. Now here Shankaracharya brings in a third aspect based upon Tarka Shastra. Therefore, to understand this technical thing, Sangha and Ananga, a little bit of knowledge of Tarka Shastra is required. Briefly, don't go into too deep. Tarka Shastra divides things in the universe into 2 types. They are called Savayavam and Niravayavam, or Sangam and Anangam. So Sangam means Savayavam, Anangam means Niravayavam or Anavayavam also it is said. Sangam means Angena Saha, a thing which has got its own constituent parts. A thing with several parts within itself is called Savayava. For example, our own body is Savayava because it has got so many parts: eyes, ears, legs, hands, limbs. A desk is Savayavam because it has got a top, legs, a drawer, all those things. So they are all Savayavam. It has got its own constituent parts. And of course, the object of consideration need not be a living being. Every inert thing can be so, also can be so classified. Every living being can be classified. You take a tree, it has got constituent parts, isn't it? The bark, then the leaves, the branches, flowers, all parts of the tree. Similarly, that is inert things also can be classified. Table, chair, laptop, all those things can be classified. All of them have got constituent parts and they are all called Savayavam or Sangam. Thus, everything in the creation is consistent of it consists of various constituent parts. And that's why even modern science continues to split elements into molecules. A molecule is a savayava. It has got so many atoms. They arrived at atom, and then they named this atom, thinking that it cannot be further split. Atom is one which is not splittable. So atom is niravayava. It does not have parts. But later they found that atom is also savayava, consisting of subatomic particles. Now the question they asked is subatomic particles savayavam or niravayavam? So this can go on like this, on and on and on. Thus, still even science does not know the frontiers of savayavam entities. So many are there. Go on splitting. Then niravayavam means what? That which does not have any constituent parts. So in Tarkashastram, they talk about niravayavam entity. They talk about paramanu, which is, you can say, similar to atom. What scientists call atom. In Tarkashastra, they call it paramanu. Paramanu means the ultimate particle which cannot be further split. So paramanu is niravayavam. And in Tarkashastra, they talk about space. And space in Tarkashastra, they regard it as nothingness. Careful, they don't say it is vacuum. They say it is nothingness. It is a positive entity, one of the elements. But they say space does not have any part, so it is niravayavam, partless. So all objects are savayavam, and paramanu, space, etc. are niravayavam. This is the classification as per Tarkashastra. Then thereafter, they study the whole world. So the world is divided and studied further and further. Out of this whole thing, we need only to know two features. They say, what is savayavam? It has got constituent parts. It is an assembled entity by joining all the constituent parts. It is an assemblage, assembled entity, like car manufacturing, etc. We have got hundreds of components. There is an assembly line. We assemble these parts in a particular order. So from final stage of assembly, the fully assembled car rolls out. All savayava. So savayava vastu is assembled in time. Therefore, it is a product. And they say the vyapti is yat savayavam tat karyam. Anything which is savayavam is a product. And what is the corollary for that? Anything which is niravayavam is not an assembled thing. Means it has been there all the time. So yat niravayavam tat na karyam. Therefore, paramanu for them is not a product. Akasha is not a product. According to Tarkashastra. Of course, in Vedanta, we differ from them. We say Akasha is also born. Akasha also is a product. That's what we say in Vedanta. And for us, we have a pramanam for saying this in Taittiriya Upanishad, which talks about the sequence of evolution or creation. This mantra is there. Tasmat va etasmat atmana akasha sambhutah akashat vayuhu vayoragnihi agnerapah adbhya prithvi prithivya oshadayah oshadabhyonnam annat purushah. So tasmat va, after that, etasmat atmanah, from this atma, from this Brahman, akasha sambhutah, akasha is born. So when Akasha is born from Brahman, or to put it what we are saying, Brahman and Maya, combination of Brahman and Maya, by using the Paramesha Shakti, Akasha is born. So for us, Akasha is a product. Then from Akasha, Vayu, air, wind is formed, is born. Then Vayu or Agni, from Vayu, Agni is born. Agni Rapa, from Agni, water or Jala or Apa is born. Adbhya Prithvi, from water, this earth is born. From the Prithvi, Oshadaya, all plants is born. Oshadayobhyannam, from the plants we get our food. And from food, a Purusha is born, a human being is born, or a Jiva is born, you can say. So this is the sequence of creation which Veda talks, Taittiriya Upanishad talks about. And thank God, modern cosmology also talks about the same thing. But Tarkashastra says Akasha being Niravayavam is not assembled in time, means it is not a product. So Yat Savayavam Tat Karyam is rule number 1. Second rule is whatever is Savayavam, whatever is assembled will undergo a change. Wear and tear will be there. At least, if not everywhere, at least the joints, wherever the movement is more, wear and tear. That's why we have got the knee problem and all that kind of a thing. Spondylitis. So not only parts will undergo change, even the joints will undergo change. Sometimes they will miss, like our teeth and all go away. Our hair goes away. Either the black color of the hair is gone or the hair itself is gone, making us bald. So the entire body, whatever is constituent, whatever is assembled, it will undergo wear and tear. All these are being presented for us to make understand whether Maya, or to answer the question, whether Maya is Sangha or Anangaha. Is it a product or it's a main source? That is what we have to know. We are dealing with. What is Maya, right? That's what we are dealing with. So Yat Savayavam Tat Savikaram is the rule number 2. That which is having parts, Savikaram means it will undergo change. Vikaraham. Vikarena saha vardate. It undergoes change. This is rule number 2. So Niravayavam is Akaryam, not a product, and therefore Nirvikaram does not undergo change. Anything Savayavam is a product, and Savayavam constantly undergoes modification and change. These are the 2 features. And Niravayavam is not a product, not made in time, so it does not undergo any change at all. It is Anadihi. If we have understood this, we will see whether Maya comes under Savayavam or Niravayavam. And when we inquire into it, we find that we are not able to classify it as either of them. Why? Suppose you say Maya is Savayavam, endowed with parts, a composite entity. You will have to say it is a product born at a particular time. You will also have to say what is Savayavam is Savikaram. It will undergo changes. And whatever is born will have an end also. So if Maya is Savayavam, it is assembled, its features should be, it should be born number 1 at a particular point in time. Its parts should undergo change over a period of time. And third, at some point in time, it should disappear, it should die, it should get destroyed. Because all assembled things, these are the rules. But Maya, unfortunately, is Anadi. You ask, okay, Maya is born. Savayavam, so it is born. When was it born? Nobody knows. And Shastra says Maya is Anadi. It has no beginning. The previous sloka, I remember we saw Anadi Avidya. So just as we say it is Anadi, never created, Maya is also Anadi. Therefore, Maya cannot be Savayavam. If it is Savayavam, it should have had a beginning, but it does not. So, Anaditvat Sangaha na bhavati. Then can we say it is Niravayavam? Because it is Anadi, it should be Niravayavam, like Paramanu or Akasha of the Tarka Shastra, right? But Vedanta says that also is not possible because Maya undergoes modification, it constantly evolves. That it has got evolution only after its evolution, we come to know that it has a Sattva constituent, Rajas constituent, Tamas constituent. This entire Mayika Prapancha becomes unmanifest. It does not disappear, then it becomes manifest again. So changes happen. If Maya were Niravayavam, it would not have undergone any change. So Savikaratvat Niravayavam apina bhavati. Maya is not Niravayavam. So Anaditvat Sangaha navavati. Maya is not Savayavam. Savikaratvat Niravayavam or Anangaha apina bhavati. Both possibilities are ruled out. Therefore, we are not able to say either that Maya is a composite entity, a created entity. Also, we are not able to say because we don't know when it began. And it is also not composite. We cannot say it is non-created entity. Also, we are not able to talk about it. It becomes mysterious. And that is why when we go to subatomic particles and all that they say is, scientists say, when we reach the subatomic particle stage, uncertainty comes. You are not able to study them thoroughly. The very study changes its character. And that is why, in quantum physics, they reach the stage of subatomic particles. And when they started studying the subatomic particles, they started behaving like waves. Then they said, okay, probably waves are the next stage, further change of subatomic particles. As they were observing the waves, they changed into subatomic particles. They could not observe. They said, we have now come to a sort of a dead end now. They say we are not able to, clearly say what it is. This is the scientists, physicists who are all quantum physics scientists who are talking. They have been able to come up to this stage. Ultimately, what physics is saying, we cannot say the matter whether it is existent or non-existent. In what form it is existent, we are not able to say. It is keeping on changing. So, Sangaha api Maya na bhavati, Asanga api na bhavati. Can you say Ubhayatmika, it's a mixture of both Savayavam and Niravayavam? Not possible. Because something cannot have opposite attribute. I am partless, I am also partful. You cannot say that, right? Both cannot be posited onto one Maya. Therefore, it cannot be classified as a composite entity also. Neither composite nor non-composite is Maya. Na Sangaha, na Anangaha. Ubhayatmika also not possible. Therefore, all 9 regular classifications of the intellect have been ruled out. That means what? We can experience Maya, but as even we probe into it, it becomes more and more mysterious. So the world being a product of Maya, we can experience it. But the deeper you analyze it, the more mysterious it becomes. Our body also we experience, but on deeper analysis, our own body will become mysterious to us. Everything is a mystery. even though they have experienceability, transactability, utility is there, Vedanta never negates the utility. The discussion on real, unreal is a separate discussion. Utility, Vedanta says, all these products have their utility. But utility alone does not make them real. These are all conundrums of Vedanta. So every Jnani will say world is unreal. But he will not deny the utility of the world, because when he feels hungry, he will want food. Isn't it? Perhaps he will eat more than others. And Swami Paramatmananda says, from one type of guru, he will become another type of guru. What does that mean? Where guru means what? A teacher. Normally, that's what they understand. The word guru in Sanskrit has another meaning. Big, heavy meaning. Guru means big or heavy. So, from one type of guru, by eating more than others, he will become another type of guru. So, remember, unreality does not mean non-utility. Therefore, use the word. Remember intellectually that the world will not be available for clear knowledge. It will be a mystery. That is why don't ask too many questions. Why corona? Why this person behaves differently? Don't say this person was loving me so much and then suddenly he has turned out like this. After 50 years of marriage, he has separated from me. He has divorced me. Don't say that. Because often we ourselves don't understand why our mind behaves in a particular fashion. I don't say it cannot be answered. Maybe by the research and all that we will know the answer. But the answer itself will lead to further questions. The more questions you answer, the more questions will pop up. Ultimately, you will find there will be only eternal questions rather. As you go on answering, questions also keep on coming. So persistence of questions is the definition of Maya. In Panchadashi, another beautiful work by Vidyaranya Swami, he says Maya is a question mark. So Maya is Mahadbhuta Anirvachaniya Rupa. Therefore Maya is unreal, world is unreal, our body, mind, sense, complex, everything is unreal. If everything is unreal, then what is real? That is what we will be seeing the answer to the fifth question. Remember, we are seeing the 7 questions asked by the student, and Acharya took up to answer the fifth question, what is Anatma, right? Then when we see the answer to the fifth question, there will be only one reality, and that will be awareful consciousness. It will never be available for any study as an object, since it is not an object. And that is the next topic that we will be seeing. Therefore, the dream world appears real during dream time, but reality disappears in the waking state. The waking world appears real because of its experienceability, transactability, and utility. This seeming reality will disappear at the time of spiritual awakening, culminating in doubtless understanding that there is only one reality, a reality which cannot be negated under any circumstances, and that is the absolute reality of pure consciousness, the absolute reality of Atma, the absolute reality of one's own self. And Shastra, for our convenience, uses 3 technical terms to describe these 3 levels of reality. The reality of the dream world is called Pratibhasika Satyam. The reality of the waking world is called Vyavaharika Satyam. And the absolute reality is called Paramarthika Satyam. Therefore, by saying that the world is unreal, Vedanta does not mean it is false, but it says it enjoys a certain type of reality. Therefore, we don't want to say the world is unreal. We cannot use such a positive expression. The dream world is pratibhasika satyam, subjective reality. It exists for the dreamer. I cannot experience your dream. So the dream world is pratibhasika, subjective. It is only available for the dreamer who is dreaming. Similarly, the waking world is vyavaharika satyam, transactional reality. For everybody, it is a transactional reality. Unlike the dream world, which is relative, only specific, subjective, the waking world is the same for everybody. Transactional reality. And what indeed is the absolute reality, which is not just an appearance of reality, but which is indeed the real, the only real thing is Paramarthika Satyam, absolute reality. We will stop here and continue in the next class. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidham Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Guru. Harihi Om. Thank you all very much. I hope
Namaste, Guruji.
ಧನ್ಯವಾದ ಮಹೋದಯ. Thank you, Guruji.
Exhausted by all.
Thank you very much, Guruji.
Thank you.
Ulhe mayam, valve mayam.
Valve mayam. Exactly. See, this same thing is said in all languages. In fact, if you look at some of these, North Indian thinkers and all, they also say the same thing. Language is different, but the content is same. Vedanta only.
Everything converges to that finally.
Everything converges. That is the real thing, rather. And unfortunately, we have got into so many other things. So many other things have clouded our mind. This clear thinking is not available. The moment we think it's not real, I tell you, it can bring a total change in your perception of the whole world, in your relationship, in everything, rather. Isn't it? So,
True.
Because we are taking it as real, we are getting into all sorts of problems.
Thank you very much, Guruji. Namaskaram.
Thank you. Any more questions? Hello?
Guruji, this sloka is very important sloka in Vivekachudamani, right?
Very important sloka from Vedanta point, not only Vivekachudamani. Because when the Vedanta talks that there is only one reality, which is Brahman, which militates against our own understanding of what reality is. So what Adi Shankara has beautifully done, in one sloka, he has captured the entire essence of what Vedas teaching about Maya or Prakriti. One sloka, he has captured it beautifully in a very poetic way. So it's very, very important. If you don't understand this, Vedanta will not make any sense. So when you say Aham Brahmasmi, that Mahavakya, if you want to understand, you have to understand all these things. Then only you will arrive at that full understanding of Aham Brahmasmi or Tattvamasi, all those Mahavakyas. From that angle, and actually speaking, in the original Vivekachudamani, we are only seeing selective verses, 108, right? Original Vivekachudamani is 580 slokas. There are much more explanation of this sloka. I mean, the Maya explained this in a lot more slokas are there. But then here, in explaining this sloka, we have actually taken some ideas from other slokas also. And thanks to Puja Swamiji and Swami Paramathananda ji, they have done a brilliant job. And that is what I am able to share it with you, rather. So, but this is the essence. If you understand this much is enough. If you are more interested, you can take up the original Vivekachudamani full and then study those slokas and commentaries, etc.
Thank you, Guruji.
Yes, Lataji, what is your question?
Namaste, Guruji.
Namaste.
Very highly thought-provoking, very gripping. I have no words to say the way you have explained how wonderful it is, how it keeps you grounded. Wonderful explanation, Guruji. Thank you very much. But as you said, yes, the more you listen, the more of the questions. Like ignorance is bliss. So once you start looking at the knowledge, there are more questions and there are more things. But I have one or two simple, probably they're simple questions, Guruji. About the analogy of the dream world and the waking world. I don't know. I should not even ask this question, because the person who is going to kind of get the awakening, probably that will be more appropriate for him or her. I'm quite far from that. The dreamer, when he wakes up, the dream doesn't exist at all. So it's very easy to understand that it was only a dream, and then this is my real life. So that's disappeared completely. But for an awakener, one who is awakened, he's still continuing to live in this world, but still to.
That's a difference. Because sometimes, dream world also doesn't disappear completely.
Not completely, for a little there, for in your
either
in the memory. For a few
remember, this is the dream I was seeing, right? Yeah. That happens. There is some like a relay race, a little bit of action. Or sometimes you will suddenly recall, oh, that dream. Most importantly, it has happened with me. There is a particular dream sequence which I see,
repeated.
And during waking state, I can clearly remember that was unreal. I have never experienced that kind of a situation, or that place I have never visited in this life. But the same place with the same details, a house with the same type of, rooms and all, day after day I see in the dream. I know when I am waking up, that's all unreal. Correct? But that thought, that memory of that lingers on rather for some time. So we cannot totally say the dream world totally disappears, but as an entity it disappears. Correct? And that is where it disappears, even though it is a part of which we may retain it in our memory, in our understanding, we know that it does not exist. Correct? Similarly, in waking world, when we are experiencing all this world, taking it as real, when we get spiritual awakening, this world will continue to exist. What will change is our understanding that this world was unreal, which I took it earlier in my avidya avastha, or in my ignorant state, which I took it as real. Now I know there is only one reality. Everything else is mithya. But it is mithya, it continues to exist. So it is similar, Shastra gives another beautiful example. It is like a mirage example. Right? You are traveling in a desert, you see a mirage little away, like an oasis, the water is there. You're very thirsty. You go near that and you don't find any water. It is only something which appeared like water, right? This happens once. Second time also it happens. Third time when you see it, you will still be experiencing it, but with an understanding that I should not rush towards that, because that is a mirage, right? If you understand this, then you will learn, everything will fall in place. The reality of the world, unreality of the world, what happens when you wake up and super waking, so that is what's called spiritual awakening and all. It will become clear if you understand this mirage example. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Guruji. That's a wonderful question. I have another two more questions if I'm okay to ask.
You ask. Yeah. Go ahead.
We were talking about the Tarka Shastra, and but then it is in the Advaita Vedanta is where it says even Akasha is a product, but then Tarka Shastra says that is the it is the end, it is the beginning, or it's the
Yeah. It's like a
where what is Tarka Shastra, Guruji? Is that not a part of the Shastra?
no. Tarka Shastra, see, that's why we say Pramanam. The Veda is a Apaurusheya Pramanam.
Yes. So Tarka Shastra is not a part of the Vedas.
Vedanta has been given to the humankind by gods, by the Lord Himself. Whereas other things like Tarka Shastra and all, they are not even part of Vedanga. But Veda has got 6 angas, right? So when we talk about the Jyotisham and the Niriktam and the Vyakaranam, they are all part of Vedas only, Vedanga. They are also been given by the Lord only. Whereas other philosophies, like Tarka Shastra and all, they are all human creations.
Okay.
So they are all, people have their own interpretations of what it is. And then they have come up with their own theories and all that kind of a thing. That's why Vedanta says that, but Tarka Shastra is a very useful Shastra to understand lot of Vedantic concepts.
Okay.
But we must only take what is useful for us from Tarka Shastra
Okay.
and not become a Tarka Shastris. Right.
That's not the ultimate.
There is no pramanam. There is no, the knowledge is only human. They have studied the Vedas. They have studied the Upanishads. What they made out of it, they have made it into Tarka Shastra. So that is, when you see Brahma Sutra, there is a separate chapter on this. Adi Shankara negates all these, what are all the weaknesses of this Tarka Shastra vis-a-vis what is talked about in the Vedas. What is talked about by Vyasacharya in Brahma Sutra, point by point, like in a Supreme Court argument, Adi Shankara negates every point. He says, Tarka Shastra, they contradict themselves. They say something here and after this thing, they will say something else, which is contradictory. And he will point out everything.
So Tarka Shastra is also very ancient. It's ancient and it was there even before Adi Shankara.
No, Tarka Shastra is, see, the Acharyas of Tarka Shastra, like our Guru Parampara, have all been there. It is ancient only. Tarka Shastra is also a science or a philosophy which has been there for quite some time. But it starts at a particular period from the modern Tarka Shastra texts which we have got. That starts from a certain period of time. And in fact, I try to study Tarka Shastra. Honestly, I'll tell you, with Vedanta knowledge, becomes very difficult to appreciate what Tarka Shastra says. I find that it talks about so many unnecessary things which are not important from a Vedanta point of view. But then, if I had studied Tarka Shastra first, and then come to Vedanta, probably I would have been able to appreciate the utility of Tarka Shastra in understanding Vedanta. But then probably Puja Swamiji himself did not feel that it was important to understand Tarka Shastra. So he did not include Tarka Shastra in the syllabus for Vedanta course. But we were exposed to it little bit here and there and all that. Wherever in, say, Chandogya Upanishad and all that, some points come up. In fact, even Shankara Bhashyam somewhere, he will come up with attacking Tarka Shastra point on that. So like that, we have got some exposure to Tarka Shastra. I will honestly say, I do not know much about Tarka Shastra, honestly speaking.
No,
but
I just want to know whether
something.
Okay, Guruji. Thank you very much about that. And just the third one is a request, but I'm not sure whether it's the right request. Like when you were doing the Tattva Bodha sessions, you gave us a flow chart about what is the origin and then from what comes and how it splits up and the different terminologies. So here it's even Vivekachudamani is appears much more complicated than
Tattva Bodha is a very simple text.
Is it possible to give us a flow chart of the various terminologies from in the course of time? Not it's not a quick thing.
Flowchart means what? In terms of then Tattvabodha itself, the chart which I shared with you.
That's there, Guruji. But
There.
then here,
Because Brahman
is a
Maya, combination of Brahman and Maya comes to Akasha, Vayu, that flowchart is there. Then
that's
from
quite a
aspect, Sattvic aspect, Rajasic aspect, and Tamasic aspect, what are all the products? That flowchart is already given to you.
that's there. But this appears much more subtler than that.
Correct, but it's only further exploring what is there in Tattvabodha. Tattvabodha is like sort of on a very broad, on a what you can call on a surface explained.
Yeah.
It goes deeper into it. Vivekachudamani. That's why Vivekachudamani you don't teach in the beginning. You teach Tattvabodha and then come to Vivekachudamani. If I go straight into that, nobody will understand what is being talked about. So, with what I will have to see how we can convert, because here the other problem is in the original Vivekachudamani, there is a lot more sequential, is there. Here we have only selected some slokas. So if I have to draw, then I may have to bring all those things which are not dealt with also. That will create more confusion than resolution. That is my concern. By having all these things, when we are focusing on understanding the self-knowledge, without all these things also, you can get self-knowledge.
Okay, Guruji. Thank you very much for that. So that's a big
doubtless.
consolation.
Doubts may come in your mind, so that doubts are getting cleared. That's all. They are not relevant for Aham Brahmasmi. Only the understanding, negating these things are relevant for Aham Brahmasmi. That is what. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Guruji. Hari Om.
Any more question? Okay. No hands are going up. Okay, I will close the session then, with your permission. Okay. Hari Om.
Thank
Thank
you
you very much.
Hari Om.